Adventurers, welcome back to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. This is your host, Tom, or Robots, and Lotus couldn't be here today because something came up. It was actually a good thing, and he wanted to be here, but he couldn't make it. But instead, we have all of our patrons this week who are joining me to talk about the Oblivion Remaster is the official term. It's not remake, it's a remaster. I always want to say one and then it's the other. And it's only been out for 2 days now, and we have a lot of impressions. Everybody here has played it. They've given it a shot. They've at least got in a few hours, maybe got through the initial tutorial stuff. But we all have a lot of different perspectives on this, and we're going to discuss those things. And with me today, we've got Rob the Princess and Wasteland Oni, Blinding Vision, Professor Bayless, and Fulcrum, and maybe Main Monkey, if that's still going to work out or not, and then also some other people who might pop in here as we go through the conversation. Welcome back, everybody, and I figured we'd do something silly. I get ready to unmute, and in the count of 3, do your best city guard impression. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. All right, so here, let's get into it. We have a lot of different things we can talk about. This is of course the patron chat, so you guys are kind of driving the ship. Who would like to start us off with their first thing? We're going to take topic by topic, things that we've noticed about this. Professor Bayless is back. Welcome back, Lord Professor.
Hey. How you doing? It's been a minute.
Good. Are you going to bring up some esoteric, small little thing in the corner of the game somewhere? Because I feel that's totally within your wheelhouse.
You know, that would be a thing that I would usually do, but I want to talk about how I'm really happy that they expanded the voice actors list while still keeping all the important ones in.
Oh my God.
That's the big thing. Yeah. We still have Wes Johnson, we still have Sean Bean, we still have Patrick Stewart,
right.
But I don't remember who it is, but whoever voices the majority of the the higher pitched elves in Skyrim, they're in there doing work for a bunch of the elven races.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. My favorite character in the entirety of Oblivion, Falanu Halalu, has a new voice actor. You guys remember Falanu Halalu?
Falanu Halalu. Remind us.
She's the one about the necromancy thing, right?
Not necromancy.
Not
okay.
necromancy.
She asked for what the line in Cyrodiil is.
She puts romance in necromancy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, she does.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Yeah, because in Morrowind it's a way bigger crime, and she needs to know what the fine is, because in Cyrodiil, it could be different. And it's very important if she knows whether or not she needs to know whether or not it's affordable after the first offense. And they've now gotten a second human being to voice that line, and I think that's Todd's most grievous sin.
Oh, it's good. It's good though. So back to your main point. This was one of the things I absolutely hoped they would do, and one of the reasons why once Skyrim came out, it was so much easier for me to just keep playing Skyrim than to go back to Oblivion after so many hours in Oblivion, is that you just hear the same voices over and over and over and over.
Wes Johnson is great, but when you hear Wes Johnson talking to Wes Johnson for the majority of when you hear Wes Johnson talking to Wes Johnson for 80 out of your 100 hours in Oblivion, you notice it.
It gets 12 passerbys of more Wes Johnson.
Yeah.
Right.
He's great. I love his work. God bless him for his good recovery recently. Awesome guy. He's great. I want to hear other people than just him sometimes.
Absolutely.
Not always, but sometimes.
Absolutely. So on this topic, actually today, because I have never really got into modding before. Oh, we've got somebody jumping in here. Welcome. Feel free to update your name if you want. I don't know if you can hear us. You're probably getting your microphone set up. One of the things that I considered doing, and I looked into this a little bit, because mods are working. People are modding the game or using old mods that don't have certain limitations.
Wasn't there 70 within the first hour of the game launching?
Yeah, within the first day, it was over 70. Yeah. So, but one of the ideas,
17 in the first hour,
something like that. Yeah. And one of the ideas I had was, it'd be really fun to take somebody like the fan, what's his official name? Adoring fan.
Yep.
And just completely swap out his voice for my own voice and just do some version of maybe an adoring fan that is just super not into you. And just a really ironic way, by Azura. That was totally okay.
Or he just completely hates you.
Right, like
it'd be funny if they kept the exact same lines, but it was just said with a condescending tone.
Right. Yeah. So I was thinking about doing something like that and just making him mad.
Yeah.
Okay, let's open this up to the rest of you. What do the rest of you think about this? Like all the new voice lines. Have you noticed certain things that are different? What do you think?
I definitely have. It's to be honest, it's a little strange to get used to because of the fact that I'm so used to, the original voices.
Right. Yeah.
Being repeated over and over again. But I mean, I think it was a good choice for sure. There is one thing about the characters that they just look kind of weird.
Oh, I mean, they've always looked weird. The potato heads.
I know, but like,
it's kind of an homage
about them.
Yeah,
you can't have Oblivion without ugly characters.
Right. It's kind of like
Oblivion without Brother Pioneer and his insane eyebrows.
Oh, or like the elves and how their eyes are like super slanted, even more so than the original.
Oh my
designs.
God! And they're like this big.
Yeah, like little slits.
They're super slanted.
Creepy.
Yes,
Can we talk about how great the beast races look now, though? The beast races look so much better.
They do. They do look so much better. Yeah, and Rob's chiming in, but he's muted. I'm sure you said something in there.
Whoops.
Yeah. Hey.
I was saying the elves' faces are equally pointy as they are round, and it's very off-putting.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
They took the roundness away. The pointiness is still there, but it looks more natural. Kind of like the Skyrim elves, where it's like, yeah, they always got their pointy shaped heads, but it looks more normal now.
Yeah, I don't mind that they kept a little bit of the potato element in some of the shapes of the faces, and I think that's still on point, And Falcon's joining us too. Yeah, Falcon, welcome. Feel free to chime in and join the conversation. All right, so we went from voice, and anybody have any other voice acting stuff before we move on to like graphics and things? Yeah,
I do. Mm-hmm. I know we were talking about Wes Johnson. I'm gonna need him to like do some liners for me for my podcast for the ones that I do with Lotus.
Yeah, he's on Cameo.
Yeah, well, he's a great guy. You might be able to just reach out and get him to guest on the show.
I don't know how to reach out to him.
He's on Blue Sky. He's on Twitter.
Oh.
He's all over the place.
He was responding to people on like Instagram yesterday.
Yeah,
he's also on the Redwater Skooma Den Facebook group page, which I'm still a part of.
Wow,
and it's just a meme page, and he's on there every now and then. It's awesome.
That's great. That's great.
But I mean, anyways, that was just me, like
Yeah, but oh, go ahead.
About the voice lines, they kept my favorite voice line in the game. It's one related to the Thieves Guild. Once you get far enough, where the lady repeats her dialogue, she just says,
"Oh, that error."
Let me do that again or something.
Yeah, let me do that one again, and then repeats the same line.
Yeah, it's the error one that got stuck and just never got replaced. Yeah, that's pretty hilarious. The fact that's as accurate as it was.
That was intentional.
They went through all the lines and decided which ones to replace and which was not to replace, and they decided to not replace that one.
I would suppose
didn't they say
so.
They wanted to keep a lot of the original charm of like the scuff.
Yeah, my assumption was that the ones that got replaced are more likely to be either minor characters or some of the ones that just kind of show up randomly, like guard number 3, who happens to be a Breton who defaults to this voice, like stuff like that. And so they added more diversity.
So they don't
in
have Wes Johnson talking to Wes Johnson.
Exactly. So the ones that are just kind of like nameless characters who aren't necessarily part of quest lines and things are probably the ones that are more likely to have gotten added in.
There's a YouTuber that I follow, Dark Lord Dash. He posted
Oh my God, I was just going to bring him up.
Yeah, he posted a video showing one of the voice lines that did change, and it was like really, he was like, this is one of my favorite lines, and they took it away. Oh. And it was like a farmer who's just singing a like crazy song as he's farming his crops.
The Cliff Racer fly.
Yeah, the Cliff Racer song.
And I was literally just going to bring this up.
The original one, he's like so enthusiastic and just like loves singing about Cliff Racer. racers. And in the new one, they like intentionally made it sound like he's like this mad, drunk, deranged guy who's
he's from Brazil.
and
He's from Brazil because that's how everyone is from
No,
Brazil.
that's the whole thing. He's like high as a kite.
I mean, that's
Right,
true.
yeah.
There's a lot of skooma.
it took away the enthusiasm out of the line, is my point. And so, like, yes, I get like the portrayal of the character makes sense, but the original like delivery was just so much more entertaining.
You know,
It was,
there's
like loud and proud.
you know, there's going to be mods that put those other lines back in. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
absolutely going to
I
happen.
sound so
There's going to be
scored.
mods that put all like the glitches back in. Like,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
give it a few months and like they're all going to be back in the game.
I know people are
There's some
complaining that the
capacity.
scroll glitch is gone.
Yup, that's a big
Yep.
one.
Yeah.
But they still have the Todd test cell, COC Todd test. That's a big thing that I'm really glad they kept.
So explain to people more about that, or why is that important?
Oh, do you not know about COC Todd test?
I'm sure many people don't.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't. It's not coming to mind right
A
now.
lot
It
of-
may be
a lot
something
of
that I knew
console
about
commands-
15 years ago, but like,
A lot of console commands are still there. A lot of the good ones are still there. I don't remember if set actor full name is still there, which I hope it is. But one of the best console commands in the game is COC. It just puts you to any cell you want in the game.
right.
And you have to put in a specific designator for what cell you want to go to. The best one is Todd Test because there's an NPC just sitting there that's voiced by Todd Howard, and you can have him just say lines to you.
Oh, nice.
He has like 5 prompts where it's like, get a good reaction, get a bad reaction, get an indifferent or whatever.
It's like
He'll
a
have
test
Todd saying,
cell.
I'm so happy for you, or that really pisses me off. It's
Right.
just Todd.
Right. Like in Skyrim, there's a cell you can go to where a lot of the NPCs will go if they disappear off of the world.
Or like the smoke
Yeah.
test.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely a thing. What was
a
the
lot
other
of
one you
really good
mentioned?
ones
The full name one? What is that one? I
Oh,
don't know
set
that
actor full name?
one. Yeah.
So if any of you guys have ever seen my favorite Oblivion YouTuber, Will Burger, he makes immediate use out of it. You just go into the console, you click on whatever NPC you want, you type in set actor full name, space, and then whatever you want them to be renamed. So you can go to Martin and say, okay, you're Sean Bean now.
Right.
So
nice.
these aren't bugs. This is just you.
Oh, no, there's
like
It's a console
a
command.
lot of the console commands, if the console commands weren't the same, I would have had an awful time
Yeah.
playing.
Nice. Yeah. So much
All
of
the
it, like,
weird
But
stuff you
wait,
can do.
do they refer to themselves as such?
it doesn't
No,
change
it
the
just has
voice
their,
lines. It changes the
yeah.
label.
Yeah. So like when you're hovering your cursor over them, instead of saying Martin, it'll say Sean Bean.
Right.
That's kind of disappointing a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't. How would they change
yeah,
the
no.
voice lines?
I
It
know.
wouldn't work. Right.
It would be great, but
Yeah. That would be like
But you can
AI
also like
stuff.
set character heights. I know I used to do that in Skyrim.
oh, yep.
Make sure I'm faster.
make a-
for color.
You used to
Giant.
be able to immediately crash the game by going to certain like specific NPCs and then clicking on them and putting sex change, and then you would just crash the game immediately. Yeah, I tried it on Uriel Septim because I wanted to see what his outfit would look like if it was on a female character. Crash the desktop.
Didn't work. Huh. Weird.
Oh, that
Weird.
reminds me of one of the bugs. I don't know if it's a bug or just some kind of weird thing. So I played a lot of
feature.
Oblivion. Yeah, I played a lot of Oblivion. A lot of the intro sequence because I like making characters. There's a part where either one of the guards bumps the emperor or the emperor bumps the guard, and it kind of like weirdly pushes one another. It still happens in like the remaster. I don't know if that was just like a coincidence when they're pathing or
Yeah. No.
but,
It's
like
to jump on top of this real fast, a lot of these things show that the underlying engine is still there. And a lot of the underlying, like, unless they specifically went into it and adjusted it, like maybe some of the combat stuff or especially the graphics, which gets laid on top of all of that. But the underlying logic of it is still very much the same game. Like, this is something that, you notice it in that. This is something that really occurs to me. So I was... Rob was there on the stream, and I'm like sneaking around, and I'm supposed to be tracking these people, and they don't even notice me. And I sneak into a guy's house, and he's just standing there looking at a corner for an hour, and I'm like, this is absolutely the Oblivion experience. In Skyrim, he would have probably taken a
Best
seat,
thing.
he would have eaten a sandwich or like at least a piece of bread. He would have got up and went outside. He would have wandered around and done things, but no, dude's just standing looking at the corner of the wall.
This is my corner staring hour.
That's
What are you
part-
talking about?
Right.
can't change that.
Yeah.
I was gonna just say that's part of his schedule.
Right. Right. He's supposed to be in this house, but they didn't actually lay out any like logic around what he should be doing while he's in his house. So he's just looking at a corner. So yeah, it's that kind of stuff. But go ahead. I know you were going to say some more. Blinding.
No, that's really it. Like it's something so simple that immediately. I mean, obviously one of the first things you see is character creation, and then the guy across from you yelling at you, or whatever his dialogue is based on what kind of character you make.
Right. Yeah.
But
which is always so good.
The first thing as they come in to the cell is a like issue that I noticed from the like original release was just, I don't know. It feels like Oblivion.
Yeah.
Like it
which better graphics.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and some other little details, like changes to the leveling up system and like, but that's really the impression I get, is that unless it was something they specifically worked on, all the rest of the guts are still there. Like it absolutely functions the way the original game functioned, with this extra layer on top.
It's just Oblivion with a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah,
I've yet to see what Mana Marco looks like.
Oh, that's gonna be funny looking.
Oh yeah, I haven't either.
I just
I'm scared, to be honest.
Part 2 of mine and Lotus's episode on Mana Marco literally just dropped this past Tuesday. I'm like, oh my god, this came out. Now we're gonna have to do more.
He's just an angry looking high elf.
Oh, did you look it up? Is there?
Yeah, I'll send a photo of it to the Discord.
Yeah, go ahead and post it on there.
Where I immediately lost my tab.
All right, so Blinding mentioned
platinumed the game.
Blinding mentioned character creation. Let's talk about character creation, because they made some little changes.
Oh, he looks much better. Okay.
And now they have, in fact, one of the biggest changes with character creation is you can choose where you're from instead of having bonuses based on like your gender or whatever. So how do you feel about that?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. It also, like it mentions with the region for the Breton, you can like be from High Rock or you can be from the Sister Isles. And it's like, oh, more mention of the Sister Isles now that ESO had like introduced lore on that. They're like, oh, let's talk about
huge
that
missed
even more.
Opportunity to not be Reachman.
The Wood Elves.
They're different.
The Wood Elves the Wood Elves have, what is it, Grotwood or Reaper's March?
Reaper's March, yeah.
Yep.
And so it's like specific regions within that area, and it makes it feel more lived in, and kind of like what ESO is doing there as well. It's like, yeah, we have these regions within this province, and now with Oblivion you get that same experience. It's like, oh, well, it's not just one big province. There's multitudes within this one province. What part of the province are you from? That'll shape this, and that's far more interesting than woman is weaker.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I also noticed, at least with the Wood Elf one, depending on which one you pick. So I think I went with Reaper's March, and that was because it gave you like higher personality or something. I can't remember right now, but
yeah, most of them have 3 stats that are boosted for each given race, but then 2 of them will be the same for whichever background you choose, with the 3rd one changing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you get a bonus to something, but then something else drops. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great system.
Yeah, no, it's totally good. And speaking about the connections between this and Elder Scrolls Online, one of the really interesting things I noticed that somebody said on the internet who hadn't played Oblivion originally and who played a lot of ESO was that basically this realization of like, oh my God, ESO is pulling a lot more from Oblivion than it was Skyrim. That's why when it launched, it didn't feel like Skyrim, right? Because they were being the beginnings of ESO being made were pre-Skyrim, and that oh my god, okay, no, this is Oblivion if it was an MMO, not Skyrim if it was an MMO. Oh, I get it now, and noticing some of the similarities there, which is really kind of a neat way to think about that.
Speaking of which, I remember. They were talking about some kind of, I can't remember if it was for ESO or I think it was for ESO.
Who? Bethesda or ZeniMax or?
They were just talking about how many years it had been since this or that or whatever. And then they were like, oh yeah, 10-year anniversary. And then they would be like 17 years and you're like, wait, what?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They were
Almost 30
years for
ZeniMax
Daggerfall,
people.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we've been a part of the ESO project for the last, I think they said like 14 or 17 years, but it's but it only came out 2014. What are you talking about? I was like, well, they were working for a good 7 years before the game dropped.
Yeah, it's crazy how much time they spent before the game dropped, and then even then it was like it still feels underbaked, and they needed to add more stuff. But here, let's get back to Oblivion because that's the main topic. Anything else about the character creation stuff? I mean, we went into a little bit about the way the characters look. I think
Crazy
the beasts,
beards now.
Good.
beards,
Yes.
Facial hair's finally in the game.
right?
I got nothing here.
Well,
We've
it
got-
was in the
You
game
can have facial hair.
before.
Oh no, only Shea Gorath. has it.
Shea Gorath, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
only him.
But now, like Owen the Blade Master has, he's got a little soul patch.
Did he look straight up red in the original to you guys because of the lighting in that
Yeah,
room?
Some characters
Like-
were very reddish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Owen
Yeah.
looks cool now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the beast races you mentioned, they look
So much-
phenomenal.
I
They
wish the
really
Argonians
do.
like didn't have like such a big snout, but like for the most part, they look great.
In my opinion, Argonians were the most normal looking in original Oblivion. Everyone else looked horrible and ugly. And Argonians were the only ones that looked most like Argonians, and no one else looked anything like their actual race.
Yeah.
And I think they also got the best upgrade as well. They look even better now.
I
Yeah.
wish you could make like the snout smaller though, because it by default it's very big.
It is very cartoony big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give them beards?
They have
know.
big kissable lips, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no beards for Argonians. You do
I
get all the
didn't say they
different
weren't
horns and
kissable.
stuff.
I think Falcon asked a question. Did anyone address it?
Yeah, I didn't see that in chat.
Were there scars, or did I miss that in character creation? No,
I don't remember
I
seeing
don't
any.
remember
no
seeing.
scars. Nope. Yeah,
That's all right.
Missed opportunity.
yeah. What else do you think about how well they kept the other components of character creation, not just the making your face stuff, but when you choose your class and all the stuff like
Well,
the
they
birth
still let you
sign.
make really weird face shapes as well.
It's
like
true.
You can have like a flat
I've got a
wall
question
face
about
or a
weird
fish
face.
head. Like those, that's great. You'd still do that crazy stuff.
Yes,
Does anybody know if becoming a vampire still like changes your face sliders a lot?
I haven't tried it yet. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I've heard that if you go to the final phase of vampirism, you go bald, and it's not a bug; it's a feature.
Wow, really? Wow. So they're going like Nosferatu, sort of.
Kind
like,
of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool.
That's a rumor. I don't. Like, it hasn't been confirmed, but like there was a few people like, oh no, that's on purpose. That's not a bug. You're just in your final stage of vampirism, so you go bald for that time. And then if
Weird.
you go back down, then your hair comes back.
Hold on. What does that entail for Khajiit? Do they like
I have no idea.
hairless cat?
I think it's
That
probably
would
just
be
the vein
fantastic.
disappears.
Aw.
Yeah, probably not.
That would be weird.
Or maybe just like the main part, but not the rest of their fur, right? That would be weird.
But there was a bug that, like, when they'd go to their inventory menu, their hair would come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, well, no, your character's still bald. You just can't tell while you're in the inventory menu.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But maybe that's all just rumor and it is a bug and that's not supposed to happen, and just disregard everything I said. Who knows?
Yeah, no problem.
Well, in that
Hard to find
case,
potential.
I am skipping the vampire.
No balding.
Well, I think you probably should either
might
way,
try it.
because it's horrible being a vampire, right? I haven't tried it in the new version, but it
the
was
cure-
horrible in Oblivion.
The cure quest was
I
the worst
don't
part.
remember.
Yeah, the
Like
Cure
you-
Quest. That was what
Yeah.
convinced me that Oblivion was an RPG unlike any other RPG I'd ever played before. Is that
Yeah,
I
'cause it didn't
didn't
work.
realize. Well, I didn't realize first what was going on, and then I had to look it up, and I was like, "There's got to be a cure for this." Once I realized it was vampirism, and then the extent you have to go through just to get that cure, I was like, "You've got to be kidding!" Like that just got me so involved in the game to begin with that it was such a big thing. But hey, before we go any further, Spartan just joined us. Welcome, Spartan.
Spartan's been here. Oh,
Yeah, AK Spartan.
How's it going? No, yeah, sorry I'm so late. I got caught up at work a little bit.
No problem. We're just kind of rolling through different topics. Falcon is here. Falcon, I don't know if your microphone's working, but feel free to chime in. Wasteland Oni's here as well. Don't let us talk over you. Feel free to jump in if ever you have something you want to say. What do you think about keeping the class system and the signs basically unchanged, as far as I'm aware, right?
I think that was people's favorite part of the game. So
Yes.
don't mess with it.
I modded Skyrim just so I could have that again.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, because I mean, I started out with Oblivion, so I was used to that kind of intro, I guess. And not having that, it felt like something was missing in Skyrim to me.
Yeah.
So when I saw that there was a mod that you could add birth signs and choose, all the things that you can choose.
Right.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
I jumped on it. I downloaded those mods.
Plus, it's how we can appeal to those astrological girlies and get them involved in Oblivion,
Oh, I don't care about that.
Well, no, but I'm not saying you're part of that group. I'm saying that's how we can also appeal to wider demographics.
Yeah.
You got to cast those nets.
Yeah. Well, here's a question. When I was going back through this again for the first time in a very long time, and I'm looking at the signs, so many of the signs give you like a once a day thing, and I always skip those. I never.
I do too.
If I'm like, oh, I have to remember to use this only once a day. I will never remember to do it. So give me a permanent boost to like my strength and endurance or whatever.
The serpent carried me through the arena.
Okay, so do you go with
the
these?
arena at level 1? Serpent sign carried me through the arena.
All right, so you're a fan.
Follow up to the serpent thing. Isn't there a like certain Argonians born under the serpent are designated as something, right? I can't remember
Shadow.
Is it the shadow? I
Yes.
thought it was serpent.
Yeah.
Shadow. You get sent off straight to the Dark Brotherhood.
Yep.
Yep, you're like an assassin. by birth.
Oshima, the matron of the first sanctuary you go to in Oblivion, she's one of them.
Yeah, I don't think I ever
and
picked
another
that combo though.
The only Dark Brotherhood member that's an Argonian in Skyrim.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
I had it in my
I
brain
don't
as you guys were
either,
talking about it,
but-
and as I went to say it, it just left my brain.
Start with a
I'm
J,
pretty
a J
sure-
or a T.
I'm pretty sure they were like clutch mates or
remember.
something too.
Yeah, with the other one in the Shadenhall Sanctuary with Ochiba.
Zara was Skyrim.
Gizara. It did start with a J. All right, so does anybody else go with the like once a day ones? Because I never do that.
Awesome.
Is that's just
I'm more
Professor Bayless?
Always fun.
boosts. I'm just like going back and forth of the static boosts that are no drawbacks and the ones that have a trade-off. I kind of go between those two, but the ones per days, I'll never remember to use it, so I don't bother.
Like when I play Skyrim, I barely remember that I even have shouts, let alone once a day use things.
Or when you're
real?
in Nord, you can shout at and like intimidate enemies. You never remember to do that in Skyrim, so
Right.
I mean, I got my thief constellation right here, so
nice. All right, Oni's reconnecting with the phone.
keep all the way.
Oh, I got mine. Yes, sir.
oh, the serpent. Yeah.
and then
out.
we've got oh, you can't really see it. Oh, this sucks.
Oh, it's a Japanese blur tattoo. That's so cool.
No, it's Nocturnal's thing.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
The crows.
Yeah.
And the crescent moon.
And then this is
It's just
I've
going to
been
be
considering
blurry.
getting the amulet of kings just like straight in the middle of my chest.
is
That's like that's a
what's his
spine.
name?
Doesn't fall
Or
off.
is it a dragon? Is it Alduin?
It's a dragon. Yeah, it's Alduin.
Okay.
It just won't stay.
Yeah, Oni, we still can't hear you. I don't know what's going on with the reconnection. Maybe just try talking directly into your phone without a headset. I don't know. Okay, so character creation, we talked about that stuff. What else is there? What else have you done that you've gone like, oh man, this is crazy. Look at this, or wow, this is so different, but it's cool.
I did want to bring up one bug to see if anyone else had this issue. But during the main quest when you're in Kavach and you're actually storming the courtyard.
No spoilers.
Spoilers.
Oh my God!
Been
What happened
out
for a
for
20-year-old game?
almost 20 years, but all right.
It's been out for like 48 hours, actually.
Doing
You got to give it 2 weeks.
So, but you're storming the courtyard, right? And the main guy, you go to talk to him because it says talk to him, and he's like, storm the courtyard, and you're like, we've already killed everything. What else do we?
It
What
just
else
doesn't
are we
take
supposed-
your
it just-
actions.
yeah, and so like you just have to go in and like
Walk through.
yeah, and then it'll like once you get this thing, it's like, oh, okay, now we're on to the next part. But he's like, they're all supposed to go in with you. And all of my Imperial guards that I had with me died because they weren't coming in the Kavach guards weren't coming in.
That's weird.
That's just like a bug that happens a lot in Bethesda games. I find
I know.
For some reason, certain things don't trigger like quest objectives. Like it's not like a Bethesda thing, but I had that same issue playing through my new favorite Skyrim mod earlier this week, where like 3 times in a row I had to like load a quick save at the beginning of one interaction because I would just be sitting there locked in a room waiting for something to happen and it just wouldn't. It's just
so annoying.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Fallout
you
is
just had to
like
expect
way
with
worse
Bethesda
with
games.
that though. Like Fallout specifically is worse with that, I think.
Yep.
So here's a fun question: who is playing on PC and who's playing on console? So PC. Let's just go through. Rob, you're on PC. Let's go in order.
PC.
Blinding.
Okay, so I have a PC, but I'm playing it on Xbox.
Okay, you're playing on Xbox.
That's what I did originally.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. Professor.
Oh, I'm on PC. I was already talking about console commands.
Yeah, so you're PC.
Yeah.
Fulcrum, you're on PC.
PC. Yeah.
And then I don't know, Maine, if you can type in chat.
Falcon said PC, but we'll be switching to PS5.
PS5. All right, Spartan, what are you on?
I'm playing it on PC, but I'm using my Xbox controller, so I'm kind of cheating a little bit.
Yeah, you're just using a controller for it. Okay,
Yeah.
and then Oni's still trying to get mic working. So, oh, bummer. I'm so sorry. Well, you can type in chat. Type in chat, and we'll say what you're saying. Main Monkey's on PS5. Okay, so here's my question: is like obviously the PC settings are higher fidelity, but also much harder to run unless you have like a very recent computer, or you're on Steam Deck. Somehow it still works on Steam Deck. Weird. But how is the experience for each of you graphically? Do you feel like
optimization is really bad?
Do you feel like it's not optimized even on consoles? Do you feel like the consoles aren't optimized?
I can't say for console. I know my brother and his wife have been playing on their PS5 and they've had very little issues because they just don't have like the settings cranked up. Mm-hmm. Where normally my computer, I can run most things on like high, ultra, whatever. Right. The game has like, I'll drop my frames on a loading screen if I'm above medium.
Yeah. I've got a
not good.
Strong system, and interestingly, I can run most of the settings all the way up and still be at a good enough frame rate to like enjoy it. But as soon as I try to stream, it's like it drops my frames in half, which makes me think that it's absolutely eating up all of my GPU, so that as soon as I add anything else that's taxing on the GPU, it's just like it just craps itself. So I have to drop the settings way down when I stream because I'm only streaming on a one computer setup. So I thought that was
trade off of Unreal.
Yeah, that might be it.
I have so they have, what is it, the minimum and then the recommended. Mm-hmm. I have above the recommended, and it's not too terrible, but I do get like a little glitch, like, you know, or lag,
like a little stag, like it's stuttery. That's something a lot of people have noted, is that it just kind of gets stuttery.
It's bad. In combat, it gets really bad. If you have a torch out, it's awful.
Mine is not too bad, but I don't know if it's just my computer or what. But
it's an early release Bethesda game. They're always rough like that at the beginning.
Yeah. Main Monkey says amazing, looks just as good as I remember it looking back on the 360. Something to be said for how memory stacks up against technology. Yeah. You think you remember it a certain way, but then you see it in new, with new tech and you're like, oh man. Well, what about the console experience? Was it, I don't remember what everyone said. Blinding? Were you on console?
Yeah, I'm on console. I'm actively playing now. I don't notice any issues. Yeah, like
I'm playing right this minute.
Yeah, no, like
yeah, he's got a controller in his hand. Yes, absolutely.
And you can switch it between performance and quality. I like to leave it on performance just because, like, it's an Xbox. It's not going to be as strong as my computer is. But eventually, I am going to switch over to the computer, and I don't know. Yeah. But here, it plays just like it did back then, without any real issue.
That's great. Yeah, I've got it on both. So I bought it on PC because I knew I was going to want to mod the heck out of it, and then got a notification. So this is something Lotus and I talked about. And this is actually funny. other thing to talk about too, because when we had the big ESO announcement just the other week, we knew about it 2 days early because we're part of the, like, they have a stream team, but then they also have a content creator team, part of the content creator team. So some of the people on the Discord were like speculating, like, do Tom and Lotus know if they're actually going to get this? And no, we didn't. First of all, totally didn't know, just had the same rumors as everybody else. Also, I'm pretty sure that they didn't roll out copies for anybody until the announcement, because it was only after that our contacts at ZeniMax were like, hey, we're going to try and get you guys copies of this game, and I'd already bought it, and so I was like, okay, well, that's great. So I got the Xbox version from that, so I've been able to test it on both thanks to Bethesda. So thank you, Bethesda. And I've only played a little bit on the TV, but it does seem like it's a smoother, if less graphically optimized experience.
There are already mods to try and fix a lot of the issues.
Yes, there are. I've tried downloading them and using some of those. I just pulled up the
Nexus, and 1 minute ago, someone uploaded Rain FPS fix.
Yeah, there's an FPS. There's a fix that updates the engine.ini file to try to smooth things out. There's one that you download a .pak file and you slot it in kind of like a mod.
Ultimate Engine tweaks. There it is.
Yep. Yeah. There's a few of those. I've tried some of those. I haven't noticed a significant difference, but some people in the comments are saying that those work for them. But I would imagine that within a few weeks, we're going to have some updated patches that continue to optimize the experience. That's just my assumption.
Speaking of the game keys that you and Lotus got, I do love that they gave all of the Skyblivion guys keys too.
Yeah. Main Monkey noted this in our chat as well, since the mic isn't working so great. But they've and the Skyblivion team has come out and said, hey, we're still so excited for this. We're still working on our project. No hard feelings between both groups. And I think, and Rob's talked about this a lot, having contributed, and I think that's great, because this experience, I think we anticipated this on some of our previous chats together, this idea that, like, if we get both, that's still really cool. And I think what we're learning here is that this is kind of a graphical lift with some other little tweaks, but the underlying engine feels really, really the same as what was there. And what we're going to get with Skyblivion is going to be something that edits, it may be less graphically as developed as this is, but the underlying code and the way the engine works is going to feel very different. So both experiences are still going to feel distinctly different based on the things that they've been updating.
That note,
I think that's really cool.
Remake.
Yeah,
I need to eat my words, because I was really butthurt when we were first talking about the rumors. I was like, they better not do this. It's such a betrayal if they do this. And yeah, I was wrong. I think it is definitely a lot better, because I'm still super excited for the Skyblivion project to come out, because I know it's going to be so much different, so much more different. And so, like, there's still so much more to look forward to. Them, like Bethesda making an official remaster is not taking away anything from the Skyblivion project. I'm just as excited. I'm probably more excited for the Skyblivion project now, because I'm like, oh, Bethesda did this. I wonder what Skyblivion's differences are going to equate to. And I think on this, I might be eating my words again in a few months, but I think it's going to be a bit better on a lot of ends for the Skyblivion one, because it's taking it from the Skyrim gameplay system, which the gameplay was always a little bit better. Yeah, some people may argue against that, but it was just then the story and everything else that made Oblivion as great as it was. And so we might see a even better version with Skyblivion. So
updated dungeons and things like that, instead of the dungeons basically the way they were. So we're gonna have those things to compare.
I'm wrong. I was really angry about it back in like January when we were first talking about this.
I would like to take this time to announce my new project, remaking Skyrim in this new version of Oblivion. I'm calling it Obrim.
Obrim.
Okay. Yeah. It's like Skyblivion, but opposite.
Right.
Oblivion?
So it's Oblivion.
Oblivion, yeah.
My brother brought up a great point. When everyone was talking about they want Morrowind next, he was like, I want Daggerfall next.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I've heard a variety of these responses. This has been something that has been very common. It's people saying, "Well, now that this works, how about Morrowind? How about Daggerfall? How about Fallout New Vegas?"
How about we remake the most comprehensive game in all of the history of the world into the Skyrim engine? Yeah.
Right. So
here's already trying to do it.
Here's my theory. Here's my theory on this real fast. My theory is if this leak actually, the early leak about like the documents that went to the court stuff and the court filing and how they're working on this and Fallout 3, that seems totally like that's where they're going. I'm assuming they're still using, was it Virtuous? Is that the name of the company? Virtuous, I'm sure, is probably already working on Fallout 3. Maybe we'll get that in a year or two, however long it takes them to do it. But then to see them go to New Vegas would make a lot of sense, to remaster New Vegas with all this stuff working. They're going to sell a ton of each of those. But everything from Oblivion on has similar or even better tech. So it would make sense for them to take what they learned here, go to Fallout 3, go to New Vegas, because those all released within just a few years of each other. But if you make the jump back to Morrowind, that is a very different game. It has some of the same features. There's still the same core stuff in there in some ways, but you'd have to add in voice acting for everything. The whole dialogue system would be changed. The combat system would absolutely have to be brought up to at least. It's not
going to be great for casual players.
Yeah, like I don't think you could release a remastered version of Oblivion with the same combat mechanics and the same conversation mechanics and call it the same thing. I don't mind the idea that like you're not going to get a marker everywhere you need to go and you actually have to pay attention and figure out where to go. I think that could totally work. But
there's something to be said for Oblivion regarding that.
Yeah.
And giving you clairvoyance right off the bat. It's just...
Yeah, it gives you the ability to kind of use that still.
They dumb it down even more.
Well, it gives you the choice.
It gives you the choice.
It's like, right. But it's like... It feels kind of like patronizing as a player, you know? Like
I don't know.
But it's a choice.
Like, if you don't like that feature, don't use that feature.
Right. It's like having a difficulty.
That's just a me gripe.
It's like having a difficulty setting, right? Like if you feel like the game's too easy, raise it higher, right? Like
I'm so mad that the easy difficulty exists. It's like, okay, then don't play on it.
So just don't use it. Right. If it's a thing you don't want, then don't use it.
But it's there no matter what difficulty choice you make.
But you don't have to use it.
Yeah, I know.
The difficulty choice is there regardless of the difficulty choice you make. Yeah. Sure. Anyway, so let's move on. But I think that's something that they would have to address. But it's something I love about those games is that you actually have to figure out where you're going. And Oblivion still has pieces of that. Like you do side quests, and sometimes they're like, yeah, go talk to so and so, but it doesn't give you a pointer over their head. You have to like go find them and talk to them, you know. And there's something that makes it feel so much more lived in with that. So anyway, that's my thing. And if you were to go all the way back to Daggerfall, that's completely, by that now we're just getting to absolutely remake version.
Well, it'd be impossible to remake it because that game is so big, but it could afford to be that big because the tech was so small.
Right. So I don't know how you would ever really
if they want to remake it by squishing down a lot of it and cutting a lot of the chaff, they'd still have the bones of a really great game.
Because there is, I think, someone did remake Daggerfall, I think, in Skyrim, but they just took the main quest only, because that's all they could really do within reason.
Yeah.
It's still very fun.
Yeah. So I think that's way less likely. Is, like,
massively scaled down.
Right. But I think if we are going back to the Iliac Bay in Elder Scrolls 6, then maybe Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a nice replacement for Daggerfall in certain ways, because it might be similar.
They got to bring Kirkbride back then.
I hear they're not. I've heard that they aren't. Is one of the.
Hey, we can hear things. You, Wasteland owner.
Hey, you're here. All right. Well, here, since you haven't been able to talk this whole time, is there anything that we've been wanting to say that you haven't been able to say on any of the topics?
I was going to go back to voice acting and stuff, and like agree. I can't remember who mentioned it, but with the Wes Johnson's great, but it's nice to have that variety and. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've noticed so many characters already where I'm like, that's a different voice. And I've heard like even some of the lines Wes Johnson did has also been like re-recorded. Apparently, Lucy and Chance is so much more darker and evil sounding now.
Oh, really? Did they get Wes to redo it? Is that?
I'm sure they did.
That's amazing. I'm assuming it would be obviously him, but like I hadn't. Yeah. The surprise in my voice is I did not realize that they were pulling him back to do the voice, to do more voice lines.
Lucy and the Chance is a weird one because I think like a lot of people would agree he was the best voice character in the entire game.
So good.
I love him.
That was the best game.
Him and Shea Boras.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Top tier characters.
Yeah, I think you can attribute a lot of the charm of this game, at least when it came to character interactions, to people like Wes and some of the other voice actors who are just iconic at this point.
Linda Carter.
Yeah.
I loved a lot of her stuff.
Yeah, I wish I remembered the other guys' names as much, but they're just not as prolific as Wes Johnson, at least in our community.
Yeah.
They are, one of them's like one of the biggest voice actors of all time. Like he voiced tons of like Disney characters and like Winnie the Pooh characters, and he's in Oblivion and Skyrim as well. Yeah, he's a big voice actor. I don't remember the guy's name because I'm just not invested in that side, but they're all great. And there was like maybe 6 people doing most of the work. Wes was carrying most of that, I'm pretty sure, but still there was like a total of like 6 people, and then there was Sean Bean and Patrick Stewart, and that's
right,
it.
Right. And you know, their justification when they were explaining it during the trailer and the release info they put up, and how it was like, hey, we were just limited. There was only so much room you could stick on a disc for the Xbox 360. And I always thought it was like a technical limitation, but in my mind it felt more like a budget limitation. Like, okay, we already signed this voice actor up, so we might as well get them to do some other voices too, so we don't have to hire as many people. But I think I'm wrong in that assumption. It was more of just, hey, we only have so much space on the disc, so we're just going to keep reusing these same voice lines for like everybody who's this race or whatever.
They could have cut that repeated line and probably saved some space.
I know one of the voice actors was like, oh yeah, I voiced all of the male Redguard, all of the male Nords, and most of the male Orcs. It's like one guy voiced like 7 different communities.
I've got
what
the
are you
page
talking
pulled
about?
up of who voiced what.
Somebody in chat said Craig Seckler voiced the male elves.
Yeah.
Dark Elf male, High Elf male, Wood Elf male, Golden Saint males as well as.
I remember watching an interview with Craig wearing the Adoring fan wig. It was very entertaining.
I've had the
Sheogorath pre-Shivering Isles.
I've had the honor of interviewing a lot of these people for some events like the Fallout for Hope stuff and those kinds of things, and yet remembering everyone's names I'm so bad at remembering names. If I saw them, I'd be like, oh yeah, that guy.
Michael Mack. Okay.
Yeah. So let's move on. We talked a lot about voice actors. We talked a lot about this other stuff. The combat changes and difficulty. How do you feel about that?
Feels so much better.
I love it.
I haven't gotten enough experience, but I've heard two-handed combat is slower than it used to be. I don't know if that's real or not.
It also feels like the range is a little reduced, maybe.
Yeah, it's just not as fun to play two-handed combat anymore.
Yeah.
And then the people are complaining about the difficulty range, saying the expert is too hard and adept is too easy, and there's nothing in the middle. And so like the change in difficulty is not very well paced.
Yeah, was that a problem in the original? Because I don't remember even changing the difficulty setting. I just kind of played default. Do you know?
I didn't. I kind of avoided original.
Wasn't the difficulty a slider?
Was it a slider? I don't know. Well, I guess we can speculate on that. But what I do know is that, yeah, if you raise the difficulty even just one level, it makes the game way harder. Like you do like a third of the damage and you take 6 times the damage or something like that. The math just ends up making it just ridiculous.
It's really good.
But
it's just, it'd be nice if there was a setting in between, like Skyrim, it feels more incremental when you go up to expert or master or whatever.
One thing I will say is, and they kept it from the original, but the bow, you still have to aim above them in order to actually hit them.
Yeah, there's arrow drop.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Which is
like, I just want to point and shoot.
Well, it's not a gun.
As a fun fact, that's kind of accurate to archery in real life. I kind of do like that realism, but I get it being so confusing for people that are like,
yeah, but for video game logic, they need to like massively like downscale the size, because the game's range, like in the range that you are shooting a bow and arrow in real life, you're not going to lose that much altitude that close up. Yeah, for gameplay, they need to change it, so you actually have to put some more thought into it.
Yeah, it is a little exaggerated, but that was a thing. That was a thing
to account for winds.
Well, but here's the thing: being somebody who played a lot of like shooters and things like that 20 years ago, once you could actually change the trajectory of bullets and use physics and things like that, games like Call of Duty and Battlefield and those kinds of things started adding bullet drop in. So it would make sense that a similar game that was adding bows, so ranged combat, was adding like arrow drop into the thing.
But Skyrim isn't like that.
It still has an arc.
Skyrim,
there's an arc, but it actually goes up. Here's the thing with Skyrim. It actually goes above your crosshairs for a little bit, and then it goes back down to your crosshairs at a range that you're more likely to use. But if you shoot really far, eventually it does curve down. It's just less extreme.
Yeah.
You
definitely notice it a lot more because, like, I'll be shooting them scamps and I gotta be like above their head.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm aiming at.
Yeah.
But, all right.
Okay, so talking about shooting stuff, do you feel like this game will be like Skyrim and will draw people into doing this stealth archer, stealth assassin thing? Or do you feel like even with the new combat stuff that something like a battle mage is still going to be the bread 100%. And butter of Oblivion?
It's going to be sword and board with a spell.
Yeah, because that's traditionally that was the default for Oblivion was battle
stealth
mage.
Archer was born in Oblivion, pretty sure.
I mean, you could definitely do it.
It was,
but the memes. Right. Yeah. The memes are that. Right. Just
the battle mage is a lot easier to play in Oblivion, so there's going to be tons of that. But the stealth archer was born in Oblivion. We're going to see tons of both, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I guess another way to say it would be the gravitational pull of Skyrim is stealth archer, whether you choose to play it or not.
Yes.
The gravitational pull.
There's still going to be that big gravitation, but there's going to be two pulls that it's going to go to.
So you think
sword and board with a spell and stealth archer.
Really?
It's going to be one of the two.
Oh, a spell bow.
Spellbow.
I refuse to use the board with the sword and board.
So you're just sword and what?
For me, it's sword and torch.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of people like
you can just do both.
I picked up a shield and it just made me attack slower, so I dropped the shield.
Yeah, I don't use shield.
Do you swing slower when you're one-handed with a shield?
Well,
that's the only way to survive if you're an expert.
You can't block and attack as well as you would attack without the shield.
Right.
Now you can just hold your shield down, but it's not really doing much then if you're not holding out the block.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And at least the torch is more useful. I mean,
but the torch drops your frame rate like high hell.
Unless you have a system that you're fine with it. Okay, so how do you feel?
Keep bragging.
So here, let's go in this direction. How do you feel like through the lens? The first time many of us played Oblivion, we hadn't played Skyrim yet, but through the backwards lens of Skyrim, it's a little bit funny to like say cast a fire spell and it's a projectile rather than a stream right off the beginning. Like, do you find that makes you less likely to use magic, or does it feel more natural? Like, oh no, I should be shooting projectiles rather than
didn't use enough
fire
magic in
hose.
Skyrim, so I couldn't feel that way.
No.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I haven't tried magic in this game. I didn't originally. For me, it was sword.
Just hit
not
things.
even the bow. Not even the bow. And then Skyrim, it was dual wield and bow.
So no magic for you.
No magic, but one thing I liked about Oblivion especially is that even if you're using a sword or whatever, you can still have a spell in your hand.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so I have the healing spell attached at all times.
So you're like a paladin build. You're hitting things, but then you're healing yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. Rob, what were you going to say? Oni can chime in too, but go ahead, Rob, and then we'll go to
afterwards.
I forgot the beginning of my sentence. Once I get that, I'll remember the rest.
All right, we'll go to Oni. Oni, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that's the one thing I missed when Skyrim came out, because I came from Oblivion to Skyrim, was the fact you can have, like a shield and a sword and also have a spell equipped, where with Skyrim you have to have a free hand for your spells, and I don't know, I just like having that more creativity of being
I feel like it's more versatile.
More versatile. That's the word I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I think Battle Mage is going to be super popular just because it's easier to build a Battle Mage in Oblivion because you don't have to sacrifice a hand slot. But then also, I never really played a lot of mages in Skyrim, and mostly because I don't like mages archetypically anyways. But even in Skyrim specifically, the magic system always felt very inorganic. Like Tom was saying earlier, like it's just straight lines, and you point and it happens. Whereas in Oblivion, you're like, oh, you have to arc the fireball to see where it lands. That's more appealing to me. So I think I'm not alone in that. I don't know if I'm in the majority though, but I think that Magic will be more appealing for a few reasons. One, it doesn't cost a hand slot, and two, it feels just more lived in than the straight inorganic point it happens Skyrim Magic system. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I want to hear from Blinding. I want to hear from you and Spartan and Falcon if Falcon's able to chat. What do you guys think about the combat stuff? Where are you going with it? What kind of character? So this is one of those things I keep debating for myself. Is like, do I want to stick with the character I've made? Do I want to try a different approach? What do you think, Blinding?
I mean, you're kind of. I personally, I think, get drawn towards more of the battle mage, but I like spellcrafting a lot because you can really break Oblivion with spellcrafting. So I'll be doing that a little more just because. I mean, you can make the most overpowered thing in the spellcrafting. Yeah,
it seems like the kind of, even at like the regular difficulty, it seems like the kind of game still, and I'm not super far into the game yet, but it seems like if you don't build your character for some sort of combat and focus on that, then the game can potentially get harder, even though the leveling up stuff is improved. It can get to a point where things become more difficult for combat, or if you focus on something, like you really pick a certain direction, like spellcrafting or something, you can just make it trivial. It just depends on the fact that you planned or not for that. Do you feel like that's true?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see this guy behind me? That's the character I'm playing right now. He's all about building spells. He is a freak for it. The professor is a nightmare when it comes to that. I put Blade in there just because I don't have any good spells right off the bat. Just because I want to be able to use like a little dinky thing, and that's the most fun thing about the game. It's so much fun.
What is your recommended, like, if you, like, the first time you get the opportunity to really build a spell and you want to just give yourself, like, make combat more trivial, what's your kind of go-to?
Something with AoE.
I like the touch. It's drain. I don't remember which attribute, but you drain it and then you damage it. And it's a one-shot.
Sounds like a Friday night
touch
for me.
Kill, yeah.
Nice.
That drain fatigue always works.
I'll just fall over.
Yeah. Spartan, what are you going with? What do you think about combat, and what have you tried?
I liked it. I agree with everybody saying about missing the ability to with the cast and still holding your weapon or your shield or what have you with the hand. I only made one character so far. I have a Dunmer Crusader, so I'm definitely doing that sword and board with a spell. I think that's destruction and restoration are the main two there. But yeah, no, it's been fun. I'm glad that I agree with everybody. It does feel faster, which was kind of nice because I do remember like that was kind of the thing with, well, I guess that's kind of the thing with both Skyrim and Oblivion, where combat's pretty simple, especially melee. Like it's just kind of the side by side swings, and then you're just kind of, there's no like dodge or anything. You're just kind of, you move your character around to evade damage and stuff. Just kind of more.
There is a dodge though, where if you level up your, I think is your acrobatics. Yeah,
that's true.
You can do like a quick little dodge.
I think that's the other thing I like having all that stuff back, because I think that I think everybody is going to gravitate towards like sword and board with a spell or like stealth archer, but I think that happens a lot less when you have so many options like that already kind of pre-built with all the different classes and stuff and how that's categorized. So I like that too, because I just think that kind of lends to people. Maybe if somebody's first playthrough is one of the more obvious builds, then they're still going to want to maybe go back and do the other ones because they see the options in the character creator and stuff.
Yeah. One of the things I'm curious about also is, because you can create custom classes, is to create a custom class that is just like farmer or something and has no it's like no combat skills in your lineup of stuff.
Just like alchemy, mercantile,
right. Conversation stuff, maybe even some of the thievery things, but nothing that actually is combat. And then seeing how difficult is the game if you don't have any major skills in any combat line, because I have a feeling it gets real hard.
So you'll level those up and it'll early game's gonna probably suck. middle and late game is going to get to the point where you've leveled those skills.
You just eventually are balanced.
Major. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but initially, I think
But it's going to level you up as a character pretty fast because you're doing the mundane things, and then the world's going to level up around you. And
right. Yeah. So if anything, you want to avoid
farmer.
You want to be a farmer, but then avoid doing anything that's not combat for a really long time, and then do your other stuff. That would be weird. All right. Well, hey, this has been super fun. We're getting close to the end of the show. Is there a question? Anything else?
If anyone knows.
Anything else? What do you want to know?
Does anybody know if two-handed weapons, if there's any way that I can do sweeping hitboxes, like hit multiple things if I'm swinging sideways with the big sword?
I don't think so. That's something they even had to mod into Skyrim for you to be able to hit more than one thing at a time.
Yeah, fun thing ever.
Yeah. But, with as fast, we've already have over 100 mods. Well, yeah, they're going to mod stuff in.
No, I think there's over 300 now.
Yeah.
Let me check on Nexus.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I'm upset that the conjured armor in the game is still not fixed to the original, because the original Oblivion had the same issue, and they had an unofficial patch to fix it. But the bound armor, it has the legs and the chest are heavy armor, and the rest of it is light armor. So you can't optimally use a full set of bound armor, and it's so annoying.
Let's talk about things that we want to change. So the Bergen chat says there's a sideways power attack, but haven't seen it do multiple hits. Yes, I know that the code in this is something I specifically installed when I started doing my Skyrim challenges and stuff, but I know that the code in that game is that it only triggers on the first enemy you hit, and then everything else, it just goes right through them. And I'm assuming that's a holdover from Oblivion, because it's the same code base for a lot of the stuff. But yeah, so whatever. So here's what I would add, because I play on mouse and keyboard. I can't just hit the E button when I want to select something. Like in Skyrim, if I want to choose a conversation thing, I hit E. If I want to say yes to a pop-up, I hit E, right? But instead I have to mouse over and click something, or I have to go hit the enter button on my keyboard. It's the tiniest little thing. But if somebody out there could just mod in, just hit the E button for certain things, that would be amazing.
Fulcrum's being a smartass and is just holding up her controller,
use the controller.
Yes, I play on PC, but so with certain games, because I started playing them on controller, I cannot play them on keyboard mouse.
I'm very much a PC player, but even like Elder Scrolls Online, I prefer with a controller because it feels like it's designed better for a controller. So I go to that for that. But for Oblivion, I've played it on console and I've played it on PC, and I always default back to mouse and keyboard. But I could play it as easily on controller if I wanted to. I
think Oblivion is way better on keyboard and mouse. Like Skyrim was obviously built even the UI for controller, but Oblivion, the menus, aside from the conversation thing, you need to hit a different key than just hitting E. Other than that, it feels perfectly optimized for keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, it was very much a PC game that they were we can also get it to work on a 360.
Imperfectly.
Yeah. All right, what else would you want updated or changed? Or just modded in real quick, or updated on a patch?
Can I say more Kirkbride lore?
Is that something you want to add more Kirkbride lore?
Oh yeah, no, I want more stuff from him.
Would have been funny if during the remaster they did turn the entire landscape to a jungled area.
I would have. It's some nod to it. Come on.
Or just one little part of the continent that still was a jungle. I want
one random NPC, when the beggars reference a god that doesn't exist. I want them to just instead of that, every once in a while, 1 in a million chance they just say registered by Coda. Or something like that.
Oh, that reminds me. I haven't seen it yet in person because I haven't gone out of the sewers yet on my experience. But UESP shared the differences between the statues of Alessia.
Yes.
And the original one was this pampered princess woman who was oh, this is Alessia. She's an important woman in history. Where the new statue is no, this is the Queen Warrior Alessia.
Right.
And it shows her a sword and shield, and she still looks womanly. But
she has chains bound to her ankles.
Yeah,
she's breaking the chains of her slavery. She still has the top of a dress on, but if you look at the lower part, she's got a leather belt tied around her waist, and she has other equipment as if she's adding on top, like she was dressed like probably they dressed her as a female slave, but she's added on this other equipment to say that she's in rebellion. It is a cool little update for.
And I haven't seen
Morehouse and Belharza.
I was going to say I haven't seen the Morehouse statue yet, but I'm excited to see, because I'm pretty sure isn't Morehouse the statue just a man?
I kind of hope that they keep it like that, because that gives you the implication that the Alessian Order, like, when they went out of their way to change it.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
That's good.
But it would be cool to also see a giant Minotaur statue for
both
my
would
boy
be cool.
Morehouse.
Yeah, both
it would be cool if like they kept like
bull.
the plaque or something like that, where like it says like obviously it says like, oh, he's a winged bull, but like when you look at it, it would look different. I think something like that would be really neat that they could.
Yeah. I can see the appeal of keeping it. I would prefer it to be changed.
I don't know, I'm with you on that.
Did you notice the divines in the stained glass and how detailed the art is for each of the divines? Like one of the things I noticed is the Talos image has him holding his hands apart with a sword levitating between his hands. I don't remember that from the original, but I'd have to go back and look because it's been so long. But that makes me wonder, why have Talos levitating a sword between his hands? What is the symbolism there?
Xeranarctus?
Maybe I don't know. So that makes me wonder, like, okay, what other little details are hidden in the artwork and the other stuff? Because every time I come across a statue, I'm like, okay, what is this one? Like, there's a broken down one. I haven't gone into lots of dungeons yet, but in one of the Iliad runes, there's a broken down one with a sword, but it doesn't look like a Talos statue, so I'm not sure who it is. Might just be some old elf, some old Iliad. I don't know, because most of it's broken. You only see certain parts of the body. But I'm sure, like the Alessian statue, a lot of that stuff probably got specific treatment because they had to remake the assets. And so they were like, okay, well, what makes sense for the lore even better than what was here, almost 20 years ago. So that stuff seems cool. All right. Any other changes?
Do
we know who voices Palinol? Is that what you said?
Do we? Is it still Wes?
Only's raising their hand. I'm not sure.
That wasn't relevant to that. It was just...
Oh, other changes you want? Yeah, I'm not sure. We'd have to find out. Go ahead, Oni.
All right. I was going to say the sprinting, even though it looks hilarious. I'm so glad we can sprint now.
Yes, it does look a little funny, but yeah, sprinting is great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope that we will see more Daedric princes rather than speaking with them without like seeing a Daedric prince. Like it's like, oh, you see them talking through a body or they're an ominous voice. I hope maybe they'll change that a little bit and we'll see the presence of more princes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Night Mother is interesting.
The only two that we see are
Sheogorath.
Mehrunes and Sheogorath, right?
Yeah. And I think everyone else is like talking through a person or they're just an ominous voice.
It's been so long, I have a hard time remembering.
Oh, you see Jiggalag.
Yeah, you see Jiggalag.
True.
That's true.
Yeah.
He already said Sheogorath.
Spoilers.
The Night Mother shows up in this one as a ghost, and the ghosts look different than they did in the original, so that's kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I quote the Night Mother often.
Yep. So.
I love the Night Mother.
She loves you too. All right. Any other changes you would want?
Do we know what Matthew's mother's head looks like?
Oh
God.
my God.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Don't tell me I'm gonna do it.
I want to see what it
do
looks
that
like.
quest line.
One last thing before we wrap this up. I was reading a article of somebody who had not played this originally, had played Skyrim and some other things, and basically it was a Reddit post, and they were just like, "Oh, I totally get it now. I get what people are talking about." And they were like, "I was walking down the road between two cities, and I saw a bandit attacking a woman." And the bandit kills the woman. I kill the bandit. I search the woman's body. It has a key. The key goes to a house in the Imperial City. So I went to the house, went inside the house. I found that she had a husband who was sleeping. I kill him just because I guess that's what they wanted to do. But then they look through the house. They find out that woman was on a weekly cycle to travel to that city once a week and just happened to be in that location running into a bandit at the time that the player was going to that location. So it wasn't like an instant situation. It was just they were there during that cycle of the things that were happening. But not only that, the reason why she was going to that city was because she and her husband were secret members of the Mythic Dawn, and she was coordinating with the Mythic Dawn, and her husband was a secret member. And you find this out because if you go in the attic, you find Mythic Dawn outfits like in some of like the locked trunks or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just, they were just like, I finally get it. I understand why people love this, and it's like, yeah,
there's
stuff.
all these hidden things.
Yeah. Yeah, like if you're paying attention to the world.
The storytelling, I have to say, the storytelling in Oblivion, and this isn't like a knock on Skyrim, but it's way better than Skyrim.
Well, it leaves so much up for you to piece together, and it leaves components for you to kind of collect, and it doesn't just present everything on this nice little platter and say, like, here's the story, look at the story, and look, oh, here's some more story. Right. Yeah, it shows and doesn't tell. It lets you make, especially for the side quests, it lets you go, okay, who is this? I need to pay attention to the dialogue. Okay, that person's over here in this building. I need to go find them, and it's not going to give me an arrow, which to figure out where they are. Like, it allows you to do enough of the friction. It creates enough friction to make it feel valuable once you accomplish things.
Right. So, the new quests for the armor that they added or whatever, I accidentally came across it. I haven't finished it because I found out that that's what it's for.
Okay.
But it has you go through these, like, you find a clue here, and then it tells you to go to this next place, and then you go to the next place to find the next clue, and there's no map marker anywhere, but the previous clue is like, you gotta look at this, you gotta go to this tree that this thing or this statue is looking at, and you're like,
it's a puzzle.
I can't find it.
Yeah,
but
right. Yeah, no, but that's great.
So you have to, you're more immersed.
Yes,
in my opinion.
Right. It feels like you actually have to do things like the way a human being would in that situation. Right. Yeah. So good stuff. So I'm glad you guys are as excited as I am. It sounds like we've got a lot of fun things to engage with and still discover and rediscover in a lot of ways. But we got to wrap this up. Let's go back through in order of everybody on the screen. We'll start with Rob. Feel free to share anything you want to put out into the world. Also, if you have any last final thoughts you want to just put out there that aren't going to create some crazy rabbit trail and keep us talking for another 30 minutes.
Oblivion Remastered is more brown than the original game.
It is. It is.
There
are already a dozen reshades up on the Nexus mods that you can download and just
That's
use
one of the
those
big complaints. And I was like, it feels weird that we talked all about this and didn't mention how brown the grass is.
Yeah. Well, even then, during certain times of day, it is more saturated. It's just it depends. Yeah.
Anyways, Rob the Princess. You can find me if you want. Skyblivion projects were estimated to be done at the end of the year. Looking forward to that. That's kind of it. Also, just for the sake of Main Monkey, because they put their shout out at the end in the chat, so I want to shout out their stuff for them.
Oh yeah,
since they said you can catch them on _main_monkey on PS5 and Main Monkey on Xbox now as well. And so that's where you can catch Main Monkey. Sorry they weren't able to get their mic working here.
Yeah, sorry, Monkey. Sometimes technology
that's
just
it
fights.
For both of us, apparently.
Yeah, thanks, Rob, and Main Monkey. All right, blinding.
I'm blinding vision. I don't have anything going on other than I'm going to play a lot of this.
I have a feeling, based on what you've explained before about your Oblivion addiction.
Hours.
Yeah.
Wasted, so to say.
Nice.
Not to me, but everyone else.
Well, thanks for taking the time to join us while you still continue to play. Thumbs up. All right. Professor, thanks for joining us again, by the way. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you guys, too. I distanced myself from the Elder Scrolls stuff for a while, but I'm glad I got drawn back in right before this all happened.
Nice.
I do have stuff to mention. It has literally nothing to do with the Elder Scrolls at all whatsoever. But me and a couple of my boys, we're doing another podcast now for the Digimon card game. You can find us on Digi here, DIGIHEAR, on a few things. You can find our Instagram. We post reels every day. I did a couple openings earlier. We got a couple alts.
All right.
But you're not going to hear us talking down like we know everything about it. It's 5 boys. Half the time we're drinking, and we're going to be having a good time talking about the new stuff.
Nice.
First episode's going to be coming out soon. We're talking about a new set that's dropping technically tomorrow, but as you see, I've already got new stuff for it. It's a good show. It's a good time. Check us out.
Yeah, Did You Hear? It's probably on, if you're listening to this somewhere, it's probably up on whatever.
Did you hear?
Did you hear? Did you? Yeah, so go look it up on whatever podcatcher you're listening to this on.
Spotify, and then we're going to be posting the case opening on YouTube. And check out the new Reels. I dropped one today. It's very funny. No,
Cool,
it's
man.
not, but it's a reel.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining us. Fulcrum, you got anything? I know you got stuff, right?
Yes, I do. So first things first, Professor, I just realized who was on your hat, little Pochita there, and I love him.
I wear this hat every day at work whenever somebody recognizes it.
Anyway, so Fulcrum, I am the, oh my God.
Professor's getting his plushies out.
His Pochitas.
He's so cute. He's my favorite demon.
All right, so Fulcrum, you have a podcast. So let's talk about that.
I am the host of Dark Character Profiler. This past Tuesday, as I mentioned earlier, we had part 2 of my conversation with Lotus of Doom drop on, and it was about Manamarco. The podcast, if you don't know, is where I psychologically analyze fictional villains.
And somehow maintain your own sanity while doing so.
Yes.
Right.
My next one coming out next Tuesday is going to be Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. But you can find the podcast on
everywhere,
pretty much any platform. It's on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, some obscure ones.
All the big ones. 99% of everybody listens on those.
And then YouTube.
Right.
So yeah, check it out.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks for being here. I don't know if Falcon can talk. Falcon, if you can talk, please chime in. Spartan, we'll jump to you. I know you got stuff to share.
Yeah, AK Spartan here. I am the host of the Elden Archives, which is the From Software lorecast from the network. That's a pretty standard lorecast, kind of follows the other formats for most of the other shows. And then I am also the host of Overtuned, which is a new show that I'm doing where I watch and review and kind of dive into animated media, animated shows and films. 3 episodes have been out for that so far. That's been pretty fun. This upcoming episode coming out this Sunday, I'm going to be talking about the Simpsons movie with Pumpkin from the Fallout patron chat. So that'll be fun. People can check that out. That's on Spotify. I'm still getting that on all of the other platforms. Elden Archives is on all the major platforms.
Cool, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And then Wasteland Oni, who has a voice.
Hey, yeah, you can just find me on Blue Sky under Wasteland Oni, and same with Discord.
Awesome.
Sorry, my cat's just been wanting attention.
Yeah, no problem. That's what cats do.
Yeah, keeps crying. Other than that, yeah, just I've got my link for my link tree on my Discord profile, so you can find me pretty much everywhere else.
Awesome. Yeah, and all of these people are on our Discord, by the way, so come join us on the Discord. And before we go, I have to shout out our new patrons. This has created so much buzz in the community. Our download numbers have like quadrupled in the last 2 days. And
awesome.
Check this out. In the last week, these are all of our new patrons. Here we go.
Oh boy.
Timothy T, Sierra K, Mark H, Clay M, Owain P, Jacob R, Raving Raven, Young Silver, Izai L, Joe W, Abin Hazo, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Marcus G, Cree M, Wasteland Oni, hey Wasteland Oni, Sean L, Alexis L, Anarchic E, and Arthur H. Holy moly! Welcome everybody! Our numbers just jumped to 156 patrons. Holy moly. So thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Patreon. If you are curious about why all of these people are signing up, go to patreon.com/Elder Scrolls Lorecast. You can check out all the different stuff on there, including a bunch of the like really early episodes that are only for patrons now, and of course ad-free episodes, and you get t-shirts and stickers. You can join us for a future chat like this. Lots of fun stuff. And you also could get a shout out every week like Blinding Vision, Hersine, Kira C, and Peter R. So there you go. Other ways you can support us are leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and, commenting, and we'll read that on a future episode. We don't have any new ones this week. And of course, just sharing with your friends. If you're having a good time listening to the lore and you have other friends who are playing the Oblivion remaster, whatever it's called, then share the podcast with them. That would be super helpful. But again, everybody, thank you for being here this week. I'm sorry Lotus couldn't make it. It's going to be one of those like, hey, Lotus, we had a lot of fun and you weren't here. And he's going to be like, yeah, I know. But he had an opportunity to come up that he couldn't turn down. So I hope he's having a good time tonight. But that's going to be it for this week. We'll be back next week with, actually, we've got a very special episode because we've got kind of a fun thing going on. I don't know if Lotus I haven't even told Lotus about it yet. But hey, it'll be a fun surprise for everybody. Until then, stay safe out there. Have a lot of fun playing Oblivion, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. Check out robotsradio.net for more podcasts just like this, and join us on the Robots Radio Discord. Be part of a community of over 5,000 people who are excited about video games and so much more. Robots Radio. Games, lore, stories, community. Just press play.